My name's Diana Robertson and we're going to do some willow weaving today. We've got two different sorts of willow. This is the Viminalis and this is another one. Not quite sure which this one is. This one was picked locally, I think. Viminalis is usually the yellow one that's picked for basket weaving because it's very bendy but also has these lovely orangey red stems, whereas this one's much greener. And the new growth tends to be a bit red, but it's quite hard to notice it unless you're using all new growth. So the older growth is much greener. But you can see catkins just starting to form. These were planted a year ago, so we've got maybe 10 foot of growth on some of the stems, but on other stems they're much weaker. And we'll just be weaving these gentler, the thinner stems in horizontally rather than trying to make them over into an arch because they're not long enough yet. We've just started weaving. We're trying to get a lower layer just to thicken up down at the bottom here, and this is where we can use the thin stems, and we're interplanting with a few just to thicken it up a wee bit as well. And again, this is mainly Viminalis that we're interplanting with, and then we'll use these big stems to attempt to come over and make the arch. So it needs to be tall enough for people to stand in. So what we're doing is, rather than taking them straight over, just taking them to the ones that are longer, so in a diagonal fashion, and that will just give strength to the whole dome. Because we haven't got the length to actually weave them together, I'm tying with a jute string, and I'm using a jute string purely because it will rot down eventually, but it's quite hard to actually tie them in because they keep pinging. And you might need two people for this. It does just want to just ping out again, so fairly tight.
Oh, but let's step back.
Yeah, and step back. That doesn't feel as though it's terribly secure. Once we start weaving in some of the others, you'll feel it getting stronger. You can see I've done the front arch here, and it's already quite organic. Tend to weave them all in the same direction, and then you get a nice movement to it. And we can also use some of the loose willow, which is down here, just to cross over as well, but we really want that to be as living as possible. If we just use one as a cross piece, that one's going to die, but initially it would give strength to the structure. So we could do that as well at the moment. So we've got here the jute string that I'm using just now. We've also got another type of jute string, probably with a bit of tar in it for strength, but much thicker. You could use that, it's quite decorative. So, but I doubt you'd get it tight, and that's the problem, we're not going so tight. And we've also got a nylon string, which is not very sustainable. So we should try not to use that. And also we'll start, as the willow starts to grow, it actually cuts into the willow, so it's not the best stuff to be using. So if you can, use an organic string that's going to rot away, and once the willow's held together it won't need the string for supports anyway. Okay.
So what's the next step in the care for the tunnel?
It's really constantly weaving. I reckon you need to weave between 2 and 3 times a year. Nicest to do it just now because there's no leaves on it. Once the leaves get on it, it's much more difficult to do because you're having to deal with all the leaves as well. But you'll find that all these buds along here will start shooting, and particularly the ones at the top end. So these ones may not break, but these ones from about here upwards and round will break, and you want to just keep weaving them in, because the more you can weave, the more it'll produce side shoots and thicken up and strengthen. You see that one, with the amount of weaving I've done, is getting quite sturdy, whereas this one I know is going to ping and is not so sturdy. So the more you can weave, the better, and really that's what you're doing. If you find that the kids are going in and out and you don't want them to, again you'd want to weave in a lower section as well. But if you don't mind them going in and out, there's no reason why they shouldn't. So, and you can put in windows as well so that they can peep out. That's sometimes quite good to do. Okay.
Oh, thank you very much.